Crossing Lines, the place to be. You know it is. Your boy Donnie Rightside along with Jeff Nadu, and we got you for an hour and a half of nothing short of spectacular topics here, as we like to say, Jeff. Sports, culture, chaos, and whatnot. So happy to be with you on this Monday. And yes, we, Jeff, are live.
I know. It's great. I was happy to be here. We were live on a Monday.
Yeah.
This is where it really gets started, the unofficial start. Going to see all these people that we maybe have seen before, new people. We got a lot to talk about, too, because it was a wild weekend. I'm surprised you didn't start out with the fact whining that the UFC card didn't end at like 1 a.m.
No.
You whine about that stuff.
No. Look, we're hitting all these topics, and we're going to get to some of these hot stuff right now. But as we said, just want to thank the people out there, because Friday we did a show that was taped. I thought we had a fantastic show. It felt like old times, Jeff, between me and you, going back and forth, getting some laughs, having some fun. That's what we're going to do on Crossing Lines. And also understand this, 282 subscriptions to the YouTube channel over the weekend for a non-live show. I love that. But now I have a separate, dedicated computer, Jeff, right to my left. Got monitors all in front of me. But just for the chat here, it's already popping. I know you love this just as much as I do, Jeff. So the one thing I ask the people, and Jeff knows this as well, we don't ask you for anything, just for your engagement. And also hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. The more you're in there, the more we can do, the more fun we can have. You know the rules, Jeff. We love the interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of things now you got to pay for, right? You got to buy a subscription. You got to donate. You got to do all that stuff. We don't ask for that. All we ask for you to do, like, subscribe. Look, if you have somebody in your personal life, they love sports, they love talking about stuff, make sure you tell them. You know, I remember, Donnie, when I started to sit down, you know, it was a hobby for me. It turned into something that made me money. So you just got to put the time in. We get good people behind the scenes. You and I have the ability to push some things. So, yeah, make sure you're here every day, Monday through Friday. And I know I'm on location, but I'll be home end of the week. And then we'll get back and ready to go. Donnie, before we get into anything.
Go ahead, man. What do you got?
Did you see what I'm offering at the World Series of Poker? Did you see that?
I did. Now, the one thing I always like to ask Jeff is like, hey, can I participate? Like, forget everybody else, Jeff. Just put me as the 10%er in there. Come on, man. Forget the people.
Well, listen. So here's where everyone's going to be able to participate, whether they know me or not.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick the person. There's going to be
tell the people what you're doing that might not understand what we're actually talking about. Fill them in.
Yeah, so what I announced is I'm playing in the World Series of Poker main event. It's early July. I think the first day is July 1st. I'll be in Las Vegas. It's a huge entry. I'm going to give away 10% of whatever I cash. Now, if I don't cash, I'm not giving anyone anything. But if I cash, which, again, that could be the min cash, which is the smallest amount, I could win it. If I win $10 million. I'm going to give somebody $1 million. All you got to do, go to Twitter, comment on the post, and someone random will pick it. I already know who will pick it. It is a big name that you will know.
Love it, man. There we go. So that's the big man on campus. And again, he is going to be on location this week. Jeff's going to be in Vegas, but we have such big things planned for the show later in the summer. You just wait and see as we announce them as we go. Chat box already flying through. Morning, guys. What's up here from Alex? Who else? We got Jack Fulton here. Coach SD. Fantastic. I love it because the interaction comes from you guys. As I said, I always have an eye on the chat box. It's an information community. It's not just saying, hey, Donnie, what do you like in this game? Hey, Jeff, what do you like? Oh, great comment, bad comment. Trade that information back and forth there. It's a community that we're building here and only going higher. And once again, just hit the subscribe button. Away we go, Jeff, because we got hot topics to talk about today, which you know includes this. Now, as you were sitting back there on a Saturday night, the New York Knicks, and I got to tell you this, because we're going to get back to those, hey, does Donnie fall asleep a little bit too early? I'm staying up later. But, Jeff, I got to tell you again, fell asleep late third quarter. Yes, we're getting to game number 6. Fantastic. I woke up 94-90, Jeff. New York Knicks won, and they're world champions. Every game was the same.
Well, yeah, because the San Antonio Spurs are a gutless organization that fell apart seemingly in every second half. I don't know what the problem with this group was. They just could not close games out. And what's amazing is the leads never seemed to matter. You always felt like, and again, I talked about this on Friday, it almost seemed like the Knicks were just destined to win. It was really just a question of, and I mentioned this to you then as well, like I thought that price for them to win the title, it was like minus 400. I thought that was still pretty cheap. I mean, I don't know what we had saw from the Spurs that thought that they would find a way to at least win even a game. I thought they probably would, but at the end of the day, And then you have Wembanyama, this clown after the game talking about we dominated. It doesn't matter. Kim Kardashian tonight might be on my bed and I might get to have fun with her, but it's probably not going to happen. We need to, again, live in the reality in the world that at the end of the day, this group just wasn't good enough. I would have fired Mitch Johnson right after the game. Pathetic, gutless, time and time again, blew it time and time again. They didn't even need to really play that well. I didn't think the Knicks as a team played very well the other night. We'll talk about Jalen Brunson and how good he is all time. Is he better than Patrick Ewing as the greatest Knick of all time? We'll talk about that. And also, by the way, Don, I did want to say,
go ahead.
For all you guys, stick around. We're going to have some picks. I know you and I, Donnie, like a couple of MLB games today.
Yes.
We've got some World Cup. But, yeah, the Knicks, 53 years. I told you, I thought this was a likable team. I really do like this group. There's not a guy. I love Anunoby. I love Mitchell Robinson. I love Cat. And Brunson, I mean, could you get a better guy to win the title, right?
Yeah.
He kind of has, to me, Donnie, that Jalen Hurts feel to him. Just a great guy off the court, humble. He's not a diva. He's a Jersey kid, grew up in South Jersey. I think he was born in New Brunswick. So, yeah, good for him. Happy to see it.
Love it. Also, let's get over to the World Cup, Jeff, because big doings all weekend long. By the way, Spain and Cape Verde live right now, 7 minutes in, Jeff. No score in that one, but I think we can go back to Friday night, Jeff. We were betting against Team USA, and I was like, that's disgraceful at this point. I don't know what I saw out of Team USA, and I tell you, I don't follow soccer a lot. They looked fantastic against Paraguay on Friday night, 4-1 victory.
Yeah, they were. They're really good. And, I think for me, look, what they won't tell you is, including you, is that I did take Bosnia also, which they got the job done. But that said, look, I think with the USA, I think a lot of people, there were two questions. Look, if you're a betting person, it's, look, the whole world was on the United States and you had to wonder, was that going to come back to bite the U.S.? I haven't seen a discrepancy in numbers and like that in a long time. Throw in, look, it's the U.S. There was a lot to prove. They checked all the boxes. They were very impressive. They poured it on. Yeah, they did give up a goal. That's going to happen. But, yeah, they were really impressive. Now, the detractors are going to say, well, it was Paraguay. Do that against England or Spain or something like that. But, yeah, you play who's in front of you. Not only did they win, but they did it easily.
And by the way, I had a couple blowouts yesterday. Germany 7-1 over Curacao, and also late Sweden beat Tunisia 5-1. And by the way, Jay, a little bit of Jeff, a little bit of breaking news there in that Tunisia game. Sacked their manager at the World Cup.
I love that.
Oh man,
I love that. Man. Yeah, they were embarrassed. Tunisia, I mean, it was flippy, the game. I thought Sweden was a little bit better, but Tunisia should not lose 5-1. I mean, Sweden is a good side. They're not a group that should be winning 5-1. Look, Donnie, I'll continue to say, we have to stop bastardizing sports. We have to stop changing it as much as we do. Yeah. It's a common participation trophy. How many times yesterday did I have to hear about, Curacao, they're here. They're happy to make it. It's pathetic. They don't belong in this type of tournament. It's just like the same reason Miami of Ohio didn't belong in the NCAA tournament. It dilutes the product. It sucks. Cape Verde today will lose 6-0. These minnows don't belong. Look, is it cool for literally 30 seconds? Yeah, it's cool. But no one wants to see that.
No, nobody wants to see that. Chat box fired up, Joe. By the way, did you see that the Knicks were going to get smacked by both the Spurs or OKC? Look, we'll get to those topics and more, but lunch and Leo, we are reading those as we go, Jeff. But also, the New York Knicks closed out a chapter in NBA history by winning a championship. That one sporting environment is down until we see it, in October? How about the NHL, Jeff? Also closed last night. The Carolina Hurricanes on the road. They were the best team all the way through. There was no doubt about it in the playoffs. 3-0 victory over the Golden Knights. They clinched the Stanley Cup, a 4-2 series win, Jeff. I didn't watch too much of that game yesterday, but got to tell you, man, Hurricanes, that's a good team, man.
Going into the third period, it was 2-0. And I'm at the Borgata, Donnie. I'm watching these fights. Yeah. This kid next to me goes, I think I'm going to bet the Golden Knights live. I said, oh, good luck. Maybe you get a little comeback, 2-0. I mean, they didn't even sniff anything. Look, Donnie, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There's a lot on my mind. I got a lot going on. I can't tell you I'm the biggest hockey guy in the world. But I will say this. I mean, I think at least in our area of the world, the Flyers played pretty well this year. I remember going into that Carolina series, I thought to myself, well, they won a series. You're excited. And then you see Carolina. And I remember asking somebody that watches hockey, I said, does the Flyers have a chance? No, I don't think they even win a game. And they didn't win a game. Shout out Carolina. Isn't their coach Brindamore?
Yeah. Looks tremendous, by the way. Looks like he can still play. Dude just sliced up there, taking his shirt off with the Stanley Cup.
And by the way, Donnie, speaking of hockey,
yep,
that guy John Tortorella, he's literally coached at every team, it seems like. Correct. He's had like 20 jobs. It's crazy.
Yeah, like the joke on him would be like he just takes over, Vegas before the playoff run. They catch lightning in a bottle, and like by next November, like, I can't listen to the guy anymore. You got to fire him. Like hockey coaches are like they last like 1 or 2 years. It feels like even if they win or lose, and they got to get bounced out of there. Jeff. Also, yesterday that we saw UFC 250 Freedom. We got a lot of sections coming up here. Nolan Whalen's going to join us a little bit later in the show to go over each one by card. But did you watch it all the way through, Jeff? And just some quick analysis on what you saw, because I thought it was really solid. I thought the production was really good. And if you want to get me involved in UFC, give me knockouts. We got knockouts.
Yeah, there was no decisions, right?
No refs.
That's pretty dope. I mean, you love knockouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so last night I was at Borgata. I was playing poker, and as you know, maybe others don't, but the poker room and the sportsbook are right next to each other. So I'm sitting there playing, and I hear it was the first fight. You hear a huge rouse, and I said, "Oh shit, the UFC! I forgot it's on."
Yeah,
I go over. I started just, I cashed out. I went over and just started watching it. But yeah, it was great. The production was awesome.
It was good.
Usually when you see those productions, remember like when Netflix was doing fights? I think it was Mike Tyson fought. I mean, the connection was terrible. It seemed like
first got around.
You always figure something's going to happen like that. But no, I actually thought weirdly the broadcast itself was also pretty well done. I mean, some of like the Ronald Reagan stuff, like I thought it was good. Look, I'm not one of these hoorah, I'm not a military guy or anything. Shout out to the military. I'm not a military guy though, personally. I never was in it, but it's cool to see that stuff. You love like the honoring of troops and, honoring the country. I know that this country, there's a lot of people that feel certain ways, but it seemed like a cool event. It didn't seem like overly Trumpish either, which was cool. And the fights delivered outside of 1 or 2 like goofy things after the fights. They were great.
Yep.
I want to get into some of these fights.
We will.
Personally, as far as game by game, just because some of these guys didn't belong. I
loved it. And again, Jeff, I'm not a UFC guy. Like the extent of my UFC is Conor McGregor. And last time, I'm like, you know what? I have Paramount Plus. Let me sit down and watch it. And I got to tell you, I'm not telling you I am going to be the biggest UFC fan, but watching in the future, definitely in your boys, in DRS's, library, as we like to say. But Jeff,
I'll tell you another thing too, real quick. One thing they did, and the idiots in boxing never seem to understand this. It's one of the reasons boxing is fell off considerably.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dana White for getting a big deal done. I know that happened a while ago.
Yeah.
But it was cool to just turn on. I have Paramount. I watch a lot of shows on Paramount.
Yeah.
It was cool to just open it up and just boom. Not $79.99, $89.99.
Nope.
Very cool. Shout out to them for that.
Shout out to them for that, and shout out to New York Knicks. I got to tell you, like I'm a Sixers fan, I'm a Philly guy. I didn't want the Knicks to win there, but the Knicks were the best basketball team in the NBA. Why, Jeff? Because they're holding up the trophy at the end of the season. By the way, won the NBA Cup as well. But 94-90 on Saturday night. Let's get this Knicks conversation all inclusive in, Jeff, because I felt like we watched the same script every single night. Run away by the Spurs in the first quarter. Knicks get their legs, close the door in the second half, and the Spurs can't score. 94-90, and as I told you, I fell asleep late in the third quarter saying, I hope we get a game number 6. I think I'm in a pretty good spot. And almost like when I woke up to see that Jalen Brunson dropped 45 points and they couldn't stop the Knicks late and the Spurs couldn't score, it's just the way it was at this point. Spurs not ready to win a championship, but the New York Knicks took that championship. What an impressive run.
Yeah, it really was. It's one of the best runs of all time, in the playoffs. It just seemed like they would never lose.
Yeah.
They always found ways. Yep. And you look at the other night, they only scored 94 points. Jalen Brunson scored 45 of them.
Correct.
That tells you about the kind of game that it was. As I said, the problem Spurs also had again, well, we heard about how young they were. We also forget, though, they had a very young coach. You couple it together, it was just bad decision, bad ideas, not doing certain things. Look, I will go back to this one insular moment with 3 minutes to go. Mm-hmm. Why is Luke Cornett in the game? What are we doing here? Why is Luke Cornett in the game, in a game you have to win, and your literally lead is evaporating yet again. Why is Luke Cornett in the game? Explain that to me. That's one just bad decision in a rash of many.
Explain this one to me too, Jeff. What was up with the Aaron Fox in this series here? Like it was it looked like he was literally playing for the New York Knicks at time in this spot. But also, did you see the statistics that came out, Jeff? 72% of the time during this series, the Spurs had the lead, but yet they get dropped 4-1 because they just couldn't play basketball and score points in the fourth quarter. It was amazing to see it come play out. And I did want to see a longer series, and I wanted to see a game number 6. And also for Knicks fans involved, I thought it would have been pretty cool to get back to the Garden in game number 6 where they could have clinched it at home, but they didn't. They won in 5, Jeff, which then brings us up to the celebrations for those New York Knicks here. And the fans went ballistic, Times Square, all throughout New York City, as you saw that. But I do have some notes that are listed here, Jeff. 63 arrested, 4 stabbings, 1 shooting. And I say this at the bottom of my heart and say, thank you, New York Knicks fans. The worst fan base now moves over to you. As a Philadelphia fan, I give you the trophy. Scumbags all the way around. You deserve it, Knicks fans. It's now yours.
Yeah, I've talked about this very publicly. Some of the biggest losers on the planet are Knicks fans. Just total clowns. Yeah, look, they suck. I mean, we heard after game 4 when the egg hit Wembanyama. Like, why do we still hear about the Eagles fans throwing snowballs at Santa like the 60s? Like, let's start hearing about this. Yeah, look, at least nobody died. I mean, I think that was a win, right?
Yeah.
But you see all these viral videos. I got to tell you, I thought it was a little bit better than I thought it would be. I thought it would be like looting and like really bad. Like, but it ended up being actually, I thought better than. And you see you'll see arrests in like Vancouver when they win the.
Oh,
Stanley
they went crazy.
Cup, so. Yeah,
they went crazy.
Happens,
By the way, what do you think about the buses in Times? What were the buses doing there in Times Square? They were lighting those things on fire and beating them. And you have people with poles, Jeff, banging on those buses here. I don't know what they were doing, but also, I know you like conspiracy theories like me sometimes, Jeff. I was told maybe, through social media and sources, they pulled the buses in there, Jeff, because they knew the fans would attack the buses, and that's better than Saks Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, obviously, containment strategy. And look, you just have these opportunists that just want to cause problems. You know, there's like a certain segment of our society. It's a very small one. That, like, they're like taggers and like they do like super fringe things. Like, those are the people that are out there picking fights with people and just in this new stupid like content culture. There's people that take videos like screwing with people and stuff like that. But let me ask you, Donnie, in terms of the games themselves.
Yes.
Let's say going into the finals, miraculously one of the greatest coaches of all time, Greg Popovich, is suddenly healthy and he's the coach. Do you actually think they lose this series?
I actually think they do, because there was something wrong with that team in the fourth quarter where they just were a young team. And let's just say they were a year ahead of time. But no, he had that veteran team, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, this team is going to win championships in San Antonio. But the one thing that you saw, Jeff, is they weren't out of games. Like, this team legitimately was winning games 70% of the time, but just couldn't close it out. I don't know if that's really on the coaches, which, again, they share something for it. But at the same time, I just think they were too young to win a championship. And the Knicks were that veteran base. Like, look, game's going to slow down. We'll take control. We'll score when we need to, Jeff, honestly.
Yeah. Ultimately, though, again, as you said, really impressive. You got to give and a lot of Knicks fans have been around for years. This trendy I'm a Knicks fan thing that just started. But ultimately, there's a lot of good fans out there that deserve it. And you see like some of these videos, like the one video with the guy calling the final seconds, and like you see the lady just sitting there, like we've all been there. You and I are Eagles guys, and when they won the Super Bowl, you don't even really scream or anything. You're just like, wow, it actually happened, But what's funny, Donnie? And this might get some shit, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah, go ahead.
As I get older, I feel like I've talked to you about this. I always have found like extreme fandom as I get older to be like weird to me, like how people care so much. I think when you win a title with a team you root for, you then 5 minutes later realize, well, that was cool. Now what?
Yes.
Like, it's kind of like, Donnie, when I know you're married, so I'm saying this as a single man. It's almost like when you see that girl that's super hot, and you end up bagging her and you do it, and then you're just like, well, now what? What do I do now? I just want someone else. It's like, I don't know. It's hard to quantify, but I'm not saying winning a title is overrated. But once you win it, it's like, well, okay, now what?
No, you're right. And by the way, I was in Hocko Beach the night the Philadelphia Eagles knocked off the New England Patriots. And I got to tell you, like, because sometimes you can share it with, like, Knicks fans. Like, you don't have to be a fan there, but you can understand what they go through and how many years of misery they had. When they won it, I was the same as you. I was downstairs at the hotel bar, and I ordered wings and fries. Jeff, you couldn't wipe the smile off of my face that night, but you're right about this. Like, I waited my whole life to finally get what that feeling was, and I loved every minute of it. And I got to tell you, the Eagles then got another Super Bowl. I always joke with the wife and anybody I've done shows with here. It might have been one of the greatest nights of my entire life. Don, when you have the birthday of your child? I get it. And your wedding date, and I get that. But I got to tell you, spiritually, the Eagles winning set me free where it's like I could die, Jeff, and it didn't matter anymore because I got that one Super Bowl. Now you have two. But you're right. Like, Knicks fans every year, angry. They get one, and you're right. Well, okay, let's go win another one. But it's never the same as your first one.
No.
No.
And listen, you also think back to how many people died that I grew up, when I was a kid rooting for, your grandparents and fathers, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's hard. But let me just ask one more question on this Knicks team.
Go.
And I forgot to mention this on Friday, but I want to ask you, what was a worse collapse? The Spurs 29-point collapse or the Falcons against the Patriots?
Boy, biggest stage. I mean, for one game, I honestly would say the Spurs game. I honestly would say it because when you're up that big, it's, and I understand how bad, 28-3 and all that was. You had a little bit more time to come back. Football's a little bit fluky. Touchdowns were 7 points.
Also,
you have to understand how bad you have to be. Yes, you have to understand how bad you have to be to lose a 29-point lead at that point and a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter. Jeff, you can walk the basketball up the court, just throw it out of bounds, reset your defense, and win that game. And they lost. Honestly, even though, hey, Donnie, recency bias, I'm going Spurs.
All right, Donnie, one other question.
Go.
What was a worser beat? The Spurs money line.
I know where you're going.
And if you're a long-time gambler like
I know
me,
where you're going.
Okay, there's only one place you're going to go. This beat will never be beaten.
Never.
2014 Christmas Eve.
Yep.
Bahamas Bowl.
Yes.
Western Kentucky -2.5 with Cooper Rush and the other team at Central Michigan. They're a 2.5-point favorite. They're up 49-14 going into the fourth quarter and did not cover. I mean, is that as bad? That was bad, the 29, but 49-14 will never be beaten.
They would never be beaten. I remember exactly where I was, exactly what I was watching. I couldn't believe it. And it just about, it's not that you had a ton of money on it, but you just ruined your entire night. Like, I can't believe I lost that. And then you go back to saying, I never get those type of beats at this point. But we got more topics here, Jeff, to go over with the New York Knicks, which I want your I want to say answer on this. How do you feel about, not the celebrities, like, hey, Sidney Sweeney was in the stands there and, hey, look at all these people, but the whole Ben Stiller, let me hold the trophy, Spike Lee is going to get a ring. How do you feel about that angle of the Knicks finally get over the hump and now we're giving praise to the non-athletes who are the celebrities who think they're the athletes?
Yeah, how does that work? Like, Ben Stiller, does he pay for that? Or how does he, I'm really fascinated by celebrity culture. I think it sucks. I don't understand it. I've never understood this worship for people that are just people like us. I've told a story about once an uncle of mine, Donnie, saw Shaq once.
Yes.
They were on a fishing pier in Florida somewhere. It was him and Shaq. And he said, I had no idea who he was. I found out after who he was. He was huge, obviously. And at the end of the conversation, he said to my uncle, he said, you don't know who I am, do you? And he goes, no, you seem like a nice guy. We're just fishing together. He goes, you'll never know who I am. But he goes, it was refreshing to talk to you. And I've always felt that way. If I ever saw, people ask me all the time, what's Dave Portnoy like? And it's I don't know, he's normal. He says hi, bye. We root in a game. That's it. I never understood that. But do they pay for that, or how's that work?
I think Ben Still was filming a thing for the Knicks, which is why he always had his phone in his hand. He also said he doesn't pay for tickets here, which is kind of wild, where those seats where he had, 50 grand, 60 grand, 100 grand plus on those, seats, and then home and away. But that's why he had the trophy at the end and all that stuff. Spike Lee was going through the streets like the Pope of Greenwich Village, and away we go with that. But also, Jeff, I need to ask you a question on this one, too. The parade coming up on Thursday, how many people are going to that? That's going to be insane.
Yeah. Could you imagine wanting to be there? Like, again, like if you're not a fan, I would say. But yeah, it's also like the Mecca of America, right? I mean, how many is work just going to stop? Like, do people still? How do you get into the? If you're working there, how do you get there? Like, yeah, I remember when the Philly parade happened the first time. It was wild. Yeah, millions, 4 million. I don't know.
A lot of the ticker tape parade is something you're never going to see in your life. But also, Jeff, there was a controversy in this, which I picked up right on, and I didn't understand it. One day, Jeff, and again, I know you loved your father. Father's Day week coming up here. We'll get to that a little bit later in the week. Great man, met him here. But you sort of look like, I'm pretty sure your father was the same way as mine. Hey, man, no matter if you do wrong, we're going to teach you right. We're going to build you up and so forth. Did you see what was going on with Jalen Brunson and Rick Brunson post-game? Brunson just had one of the most amazing runs here, 45 points in the final game, MVP of the finals, Jeff. And then on top of that, wins a Knicks championship, first time in 53 years. And as you see on the screen that we're looking at, there's Rick Brunson talking and saying like, whoa, 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 whoa. Best Knick, not my son, Patrick Ewing. And oh yeah, best free agent signing ever was Shaquille O'Neal. If that was me in that spot, all I would do, let's hear it. Can we hear the
witness?
Yeah.
I love my son. Patrick Ewing, the best Knick that I've ever witnessed. I love my son. Patrick Ewing, the best Knick that I've ever witnessed.
Like, there you go. Like, I couldn't believe it. In the biggest moment of this guy's life at that point right now, that's your father. You know what I'd be saying? This right here. Like, I love Patrick Ewing, Jeff. This right here, the best Knick of all time, and he's my son. That's what I would have said.
Well, he's not wrong, though. That's the thing. I mean,
is he not, though?
Brunson eventually will be the best Knick. No.
But that's just your dad talking, though. Like, your dad should be like Lonzo Ball, the Ball family. Daddy Ball would have been up there like, what, are you kidding me? Not even close anymore.
See, but I would have turned it, if I was Jalen, I would have turned it more of just like a fun thing. Like, come on, Dad, I'm better. Like, or just like, leave it kind of open question. Look, Ewing's an 11-time All-Star, 23-10 in his career. The only thing that eluded him was a title. Brunson, I think, not far off. But it's the same discussion, Donnie, of is Nick Foles the greatest Eagle of all time? Because he's the only one that won a title. He had one great run. Like, is he better than Five? Is he better than Randall? It's a real question. I think Jalen Brunson's too. But yeah, he'll be the best when his career ends.
I'm just like, again, you're right about this. From a panel standpoint, you can argue, hey, Ewing was one of those legendary guys. And Ewing is a legendary guy. Nobody would tell you he isn't that. John Starks is a legend. There's a lot of Knicks legend that didn't get over the hump, but Brunson did. And for your dad to be like, let me just stop the conversation where nobody even brought this up, but I'm going to interject it in. Pat Ewing's better than you, and you're not the best free agent signing. Thanks, Dad. I really appreciate that. But that's what it is. Jeff, we're going to talk a lot more Knicks a little bit later in the show because I do got a topic on the Rodman jersey guy later I want to ask you about and how that would go. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break right here on Crossing Lines. We're going to cross over to UFC 250 Freedom on the White House lawn. You know who's going to join us here, Jeff? Nolan Whalen. He's coming up next. Stay tuned. The show, Joe. Absolutely, we do. But before we get there, chat box fired up, absolutely fantastic. Love to see it. Like and subscribe. The more content we can put out here, the better. But Jeff, let's get down to the business. Last night we saw UFC 250 from the White House back lawn. And now our guy, Nolan Whalen, joins us now today. Nolan, what's good, man? Thanks for joining us on Crossing Lines.
How's it going, guys? Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about it. That was quite an event. Nothing like we've ever seen in the sport of mixed martial arts before. White House lawn, the weather. Dana White talked about how the weather was supposed to hit, maybe push the event back hours, and it just split, went right around. They ended up having the show on time. So lots of fun, lots to talk about. Did you guys enjoy it?
I really did. And by the way, that's where I want to start this conversation because, like, background where Nolan, way more you have an influence on me than UFC and you're watching it. My stake, as I told Jeff, like, I'm like a Conor McGregor guy. Big fight comes around every once in a while, I will watch. I got to tell you, got Paramount Plus last night, watched every single fight. I thought it was spectacular. Now tell me, am I going to get used to seeing knockouts every single fight? Because if I am, put me in the first row, Nolan. Put me there.
It seems like the matchups lately have kind of catered towards, like, let's go for finishes. They're incentivizing these guys to get more finishes with the, I think it's $25,000 bonus if you just finish in any method, submission, knockout. So I think, you know, with matchups like Conor McGregor and knockout artists and Max Holloway coming up in fights like we saw last night, I think we are going to start seeing maybe some more knockouts, some good submission artists on the up and coming too. But last night was special, man. 7 fights, 7 knockouts. You just don't see that often. I think the matchmakers really knew what they were doing with this card.
Look at that picture, Jeff.
That's a great picture.
Yeah.
It was a dope idea. I mean, again, you kind of wondered, you know, with Trump, it sometimes is hit or miss on some of the things that he talks about. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. This actually was done. It was done well. One of the best, well, there was a lot of good knockouts, but I got to ask right out of the gate, it was a great card as far as matchups. But like Derek Lewis, I mean, my God, I mean, what exactly was that? Michael Chandler, obviously older as well. We talked on Friday about some of the challenges that he had. It didn't hit there. Derek Lewis, though, you'd have to figure he has to retire. No,
I think he does. And, you know, he's 40 years old. He's put in his dues. He's made a lot of money in his career, most knockouts ever in the division. But going up against the guy in Josh Hokett, it was very evident how much faster he was than Derek Lewis. And then you factor into the fact that the fights were outside last night. Whatever 95-degree humidity they were supposed to have. Fighters aren't used to fighting outside, not even really training outside for this. So I think, you know, being 40, taking a lot of damage in his career, they're feeding him to these up-and-coming killers. You know, it's just, I think you've made your money. You've left your mark on the sport as the knockout king. I think it is time to step away at 40 years old.
Yeah, I thought the fights were fantastic all the way through. And also the production value, because we all watch from like, hey, indoor arenas here, Vegas, Philadelphia, Newark, New Jersey. We've seen it all before, but I thought like the whole caption of the night really played into it. You had the ellipse was filled with people. You obviously had the MMA. And also talking about some of those fighters, which we're going to get to the fights here one by one, but some funny things by Dana after the press conference. It costs way too much money, but yet if you ask every fighter, they love this fighting outdoors. So let me ask you this. Do we think we're going to see another type of event like this? Now, maybe it's not on the White House lawn, but it seemed like the fighters really like to be outdoors fighting.
I think we see something, whether it's outside or in some kind of arena. You know, they did the Sphere in Vegas a few years ago, and Dana White said never again. And then all of a sudden, the idea of the White House fight comes to life, and then he says never again to this. But if you also notice in the post-fight, he talked about a potential card at a military base coming up in 2027. So I think Dana White, the reason he's successful is because he has these ideas and he goes for it. He makes them come to fruition. And I think that he's going to get the next idea in his head and he's not going to be able to tell himself or the company no, and he's going to go ahead and do it. Whether that is a military-based type of show or, you know, in front of the pyramids like boxing did a few weeks ago, who knows? But I do think in the next year or two, we're going to see another big one, kind of like this, whether it's outside or not.
Donnie, we got to get into these fights itself. We got to start with the main event. You got to start with the main event.
Oh, start with the main event. Whew, get right into it.
Ilia Topuria, right? We kind of heard, you know, undefeated, wonderkin. You know, he's kind of the best pound for pound guy possibly in the sport. There were 2 bets I made last night. One of them was this fight wouldn't get to round 3. Topuria could not put Justin Gaethje away. This Justin Gaethje, I can't escape this guy. I thought he'd lose against Paddy Pimblett. I was off there. I thought he was dead money last night in the second round. He should have been knocked out. He wasn't. This Gaethje just never goes away. He's like the Knicks. He never goes away. Topuria, though, what exactly happened there?
I think Topuria is just a little overconfident. I looked at his Instagram, and the guy had a celebration the night before the fight, celebrating his victory already. I think he completely overlooked Justin Gaethje, who is, 37, going to be 38 years old, and has taken some losses to guys that Ilia Topuria has beat. I think he just got too confident. He was 17-0. He's the biggest star in the UFC, and he completely overlooked him, and he paid the price with that, because that was pretty bad, man. I mean, he didn't just beat Topuria last night. He made him quit on the stool and made his corner throw in the towel, which you don't see that often in mixed martial arts.
Yeah, it was unbelievable to watch it play out. And also, just from a fight perspective here, first, round, okay. Second round, you get full control, looks like, for Topuria, but as Jeff said, can't put away. And then all of a sudden, we see the beginning of the fight towards the end. And this is a guy coming into the fight, Topuria is undefeated. His face changed from round 1 to round 2 to round 3. And also talk to me about this. What happened in the corner with the referee? Looked like he was waving this fight off. They said, no, we're not going to do that. And they let him go out for another round.
I've never seen anything like that. I kind of talked about it last night. When the doctor comes in and says a fight can't continue, normally the referee, he stops it right there. The doctor's word is the one that matters. But I don't know if it was the moment, the magnitude of the event, that Mark Goddard, the ref, just said, we got to keep this thing going until someone gets put to sleep, someone gets knocked out, or whatever the case may be. But I thought it was very interesting, too, that he kind of made the doctor, let's get a second opinion here. And I think the doctor was still saying, no, I looked at it again. Let's not do this. And Goddard just told him to keep going. So that was very interesting. I thought, if it wasn't stopped right there, I thought it'd be stopped shortly after.
What's the point of the doctor then? I don't
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I've seen doctors stop fights for less, honestly, cuts and stuff like that. Topuria, right. I mean, you could tell he could not see. Nose was broken, orbital bone broken. I mean, I guess just it's a testament to his toughness to want to go out there in the first place. But yeah, very, very strange with the doctor and the ref there.
Now let's talk. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, it's funny you brought up kind of the overconfidence, the celebration dinner. Even walking out, it seemed like he thought he was that dude, which, again, you want confidence, but it seems like a lot of these guys underlook or overlook Justin Gaethje. Very good. Cyril Gane, big-time knockout as well. Look, there were a lot of them last night, but he is a load, man. My God, I'm not gay, but what a good-looking man. Big guy, big Adonis. Wow.
Yeah, no, Cyril Gane, he does get overlooked in these bigger fights. And I think it all comes down to when he fought John Jones. John Jones was a slight favorite in that matchup and came in and just dominated him. And then the fight against Tom Aspinall with the eye poke. And then he won a robbery decision over Alexander Volkov. So I think the kind of the word on Cyril Gane is that he's a bag fumbler. He fumbles in these big spots. I think people expected something like that to happen against Pereira. But Gane was prepared. He was ready. He was the better man. And he's so fast and technical at heavyweight. You don't see it often. A lot of these guys are brawlers. They want to slug it out, and they just throw everything with power. Gane moves like a guy who weighs 185, not 260. And, I think Alex Pereira, moving up a weight class, he was a little bit slower. He's normally faster than his competition. But when he got a guy equal size, equal speed, maybe even a little faster, I think that's plays a little bit of a part how Gane had the upper hand in that one.
It's amazing, too, because we had those two last fights of the night there, championship battles. And if we get back to Gaethje and Topuria, I want to ask you here, Nolan, what's next? What's next for Justin Gaethje? Almost feels like, okay, he was served up there. He was a heavy underdog. He wins. But more importantly, everybody thought Topuria just might walk in there and be like, okay, he's the next face of MMA. He's been absolutely sensational. He takes a loss. And it wasn't a fluke where it's like, okay, first round, he just caught me. It was domination by the end of the fight. And Gaethje looked spectacular. What's next for these two fighters?
Yeah, Topuria, I think if he does have a fractured orbital bone, which I think it's been confirmed, he'll be out 3 to 6 months. He's going to have to heal that up. So that gives him a little bit of time to get back to the drawing board. And then Paddy Pimblett, who Justin just beat, fights Benoit Saint-Denis July 11th in Vegas. If Benoit Saint-Denis gets past Paddy Pimblett, I think you're looking at Justin versus him for a title shot. And then, Ilia is such a big star. And even in the defeat last night, he almost put Justin out of there in round 2 with the body shots. I think if he would have just stood up, he had a chance to knock him out. I think Ilia comes back. He's been a champion in multiple divisions. I think he's warranted maybe a rematch. The fight did unbelievable numbers. People tuned in, fight of the year. I think the UFC would run that back. So I think it's BSD, and then it's Ilia when Ilia heals up and comes back.
I'm always fascinated with watching these fights. And look, obviously, Nolan, you're an MMA guy. You watch every fight. I'm like Donnie. I'm not sitting there watching it like everyone else every time. But I mean, you look at how quick these fights can change. I mean, I thought Gaethje was very good in round one. You look at round two, it was the disaster. He probably should have lost. He then comes right back, and in the later rounds, just again goes back to dominating. I mean, the punches these guys take, the abuse they take. What was your knockout of the night? There were 7. What do you got?
I think from a moment standpoint, it's Justin Gaethje, just because of the magnitude. He's an American main event White House. That's very special. And then Diego Lopez, though, he kind of flew under the radar last night because he was the first fight on the card. But also, he's the first knockout on the White House lawn. That's kind of a cool storyline. He's been a guy who's had a big moment at Noche UFC, at UFC 300, and now the White House. He's just, any big moment the UFC has, Diego Lopez is there. And he was losing that fight, quite frankly, until the moment he caught him with the shots. I like that one a lot. Mauricio Hoofy, great over Michael Chandler. I think people expected that, though. And, it comes down for me. It's Diego Lopez and Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, it was tremendous to watch because we all like action. I mean, there's something to be said, hey, you watch a baseball game. Fantastic. Mizraski's out there. Nobody can touch him. You appreciate that. But we love offense, and you got that a lot. And just keeping up there on Ufi's fight, if I can pronounce that correctly, going up against Chandler. It looked like a mismatch, but at the same time, dude looks really good on that side. I mean, it's a clean work round number 1 knockout where I'm saying this is a guy I want to watch fight more because the style is just nasty, Nolan.
Yeah, and he came off of knocking out Rafael Fiziev, who is Justin Gaethje couldn't knock him out in 2 fights. And he comes out there and gets rid of him in round 2, comes out last night, beats Michael Chandler. And say whatever you want about Chandler. He's 2-6 in the promotion, and he's older, but he's a very tough guy. That's just how he's bred. So, yeah, Rufy, you give him strikers, and he's going to be in fun fights every single time.
It's great stuff. Anything else, Jeff? Little knockout of the night? Jeff, tell this guy you had a knockout of the night. Did you get a knockout in West Virginia, by the way? At the end of that fight, how'd that one go? Went to the cards? Look at Jeff. I'm a little technical difficulties. We'll get that worked out. But Nolan, we'll take that center stage right back right now and have some fun with this because I want to know the future of the UFC. And again, Dana White goes, costs too much money, not there at this point. But as we look forward, one of the guys I talked about, which I absolutely loved watching fight, it's Conor McGregor. Nolan, the future of Conor McGregor, what is it in UFC?
It was interesting last night to see Joe Rogan sit down and bring Conor McGregor and Max Holloway on screen to have a little back and forth. Yep. And Conor talked about how he wants to go out there and beat Max and he wants to fight again and again. So, if Conor does win over Max, I think that does get him a little taste of victory and what it used to be like being the big UFC star. And I think he would be motivated to come back and fight some more. If he loses to Max, I think you think about having, hanging it up and calling it a career. There's nothing really left to fight for, right? He's done it all. He's made all the money. And that'd be a couple of, bad losses in a row. And you hadn't had a win in, almost 5-6 years. So if he loses to Max, I think he hangs it up. If he beats Max, which is kind of possible, by the way, I think you're looking at a little McGregor fall into winter. We're going to get a little bit more out of him, which is good for the UFC and good for business.
I love it. I mean, I think it's fantastic here. Talking with Nolan Whalen here, obviously MMA influencer out there, loves it, talks a clean game, looks great on camera. Love to see it, Jeff. You're back, brother. Come on now, get in here.
Yeah, two great boxers in that one. Again, you want knockouts, you might get one there. And look, Conor just gets views, man. Some people say to me, Nadu, I don't understand what you do exactly. I get views. That's why.
By the way, Nolan, let me take this from you here because we understand how hard it is to get ready for a UFC fight, how much pain you're in, but more importantly, like playing, and I go back, we used to call it, and it might be the same thing now, midget football in the 1980s, 55 pounds, 65 pounds, 75 pounds. We're 9, 10, 11 years old. You always have the big kid out there. Like, okay, we're going for weigh-ins. I never had a problem with a weigh-in. I was a smaller guy. But the big boys had to put all of the stuff on, sit in front of kerosene heaters. I don't know if we have behind the scenes with a video here of weight cutting, but I saw a guy in Pratis that was getting ready for a fight to lose 10 pounds at once, basically in a single day. Is this normal? Is this abnormal? And how the heck can you do that?
Yeah, no, it's pretty standard now. Man. I mean, guys will load up with water. They're eating clean. They're hardly eating anything the weeks leading up, and then that final push to make weight. they are dropping 5, 10, 15 pounds sometimes, which just seems miserable. And they'll put behind the scenes footage out, and you can tell that it is brutal. I mean, in the sauna, in these, sauna suits, laying on the bathroom floor with their team around them, just in and out of consciousness is what it looks like. It's wild that, guys, just to get the upper hand or a little bit of an advantage, go down a weight class to cut that extra weight. And a perfect example is Alex Pereira, who fought at heavyweight last night. That guy weighed in at 260. He's big, and he used to fight at 185 pounds. I mean, when he came into the UFC, and that was like a 45-pound weight cut for him, he'd do over the course of 4, 6, 8 weeks. But it's just insane, man. These guys that get the upper hand are cutting some weight, and it gets scary. Fights get called off because guys, have medical issues because of this. And, there's a lot of word out there, if you talk to the community, that they don't like the weight cuts. There should be restrictions and stuff, because sometimes these big fights do fall through because of them. And that's pretty understandable. But yeah, the weight cuts are brutal. It is a part of the sport, but I'd like to see somewhere in between where we're not getting guys that are completely drained and not to their best abilities.
With all the money, Donnie and Nolan, in this sport and in these sports, they need to pay these guys more. That's some of the stuff we don't hear about. We all like knockouts in these fights, but the behind the scenes stuff, I mean, that's brutal, man. Losing 10, 12, 15 pounds in 24 hours. That's insane.
I agree. Yeah. The fighter pay has always been an issue. And when you see what they really go through, I think they're justified to get way more money than they are. I mean, UFC just signed the $7.7 billion deal with Paramount, and I know they upped the bonuses, and maybe they get paid a little extra behind the scenes that people don't know about. But all in all, you compare it to a football or baseball, they're not getting near the percentage of revenue that those players are in other sports.
Donnie, one other question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep, sure.
Before we wrap it up, obviously Topuria, a lot of people thought, is he possibly the number one pound for pound fighter in the world? Who is that now?
It's Islam Makhachev, I believe. I mean, I think he is officially in the rankings number one pound for pound. A guy who's only lost once, and it was in like his second UFC fight back before 2020. He got knocked out, but since then has been on a run. It's the cousin of Habib Nurmagomedov the Great, and he's kind of followed in that path, right? He can grapple, dominate you. He knocked out Alexander Volkanovski once, beat him by decision another time. Submits Charles Oliveira. I mean, the guy has beat all the greats, and he doesn't seem like he's slowing down. He just moved up the weight class and captured a second belt over Jack Della Maddalena last year. So right now it's Islam Makhachev. Number 2, I mean, Gaethje's got to be climbing the list a little bit. He's just been teetering in that top 10 barely, and now he's going to get towards that top 5 pound for pound. But right now it's Islam Makhachev.
UFC Freedom 250 last night on the White House lawn, recapping, going over everything here with Nolan Whalen. Nolan, before we get you out of here, let the people know where they can find you at, where they can follow you, and what you got going on.
All social medias, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, at Nolan Knows MMA. Go give me a follow, breaking down every single fight, talking all stuff MMA. And to you guys, thank you for having me today. This has been a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Don't be a stranger to the programs. Crossing Lines just getting underway. Nolan Whalen talking some MMA with us. Thank you so much for that. In the meantime, we're going to take a short break here. We got Major League Baseball coming up. The hot topics will continue to flow. It's Crossing Lines with Jeff and Donnie. We'll be right back. Nolan Whalen, fantastic stuff right there. Jeff filling us in on exactly what happened last night. UFC Freedom 250 from the White House lawn. Absolutely love to say it's Crossing Lines. And also, we like to get to some of those hot topics, Jeff, because we're a live show, right? Things that are going on live right now. I saw a tweet from you earlier today, and by the way, no knock on this. Spain should whip up on Cape Verde. We're at the half, Jeff. Spain, or it looks like, are we at the half? It looks like we're going to be in a little extra times before the half. 0-0, Jeff. What's going on? España.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the best teams in this tournament. I haven't watched, obviously. I'm here on the show, but I mean, 0-0 with Cabo Verde, one of the smallest little nations in this tournament. I mean, if you're them, you have to be very happy going into the half 0-0. I mean, I saw people predicting. I predicted 5-0. And look, Spain probably make some adjustments. Look, I heard Lamine Yamal's on the bench. I don't know how true that is.
Does he have a hammy, Jeff? Has he got a hamstring injury? Is he good? Is he fit, as we like to say, for the World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you always have these little knocks and stuff, but I mean, they'll make some changes at half. I'm sure they'll still win and cruise and win like 3 or 4-0. But yeah, I mean, they have 10 shots, 3 on goal. They've had 70% of the possession. Yeah. Again, this happens occasionally. We saw for a brief second with Germany yesterday where Curacao scores and you think, wow, I don't know if that can continue, but yeah, they've not played well from the looks of it.
Now, we're going to cap some Major League Baseball in just a few moments here, Jeff, but why don't we continue to talk a little World Cup action right now? Because we got 4 game settings. Jeff just brought up Spain, Cape Verde, sitting there at 0-0 at this point. Belgium, Egypt, Jeff, at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, Saudi Arabia and Uruguay, then Iran and New Zealand at 9 p.m. tonight. Any looks, Jeff, on this card all the way through? Because I know you like to put those tweets out during the day and try to give those final scores. What are we looking at from these 4 games today?
Yeah, and before we get into that, I do want to shout out our guest on Friday, Flash. Did a great job.
He did a great job.
He was bang on with the U.S. in his predictions. He mentioned Balogun. I'm interested in Belgium today. I'm not sure that I'm going to play it. I'm really just interested in seeing, we've seen these kind of second-tier teams, right? I think a lot of us thought maybe could Germany be that team. Nobody's talking about Germany really coming into this tournament. I think they're Belgium, another group. They have a lot of good players up front. Doku, Lukaku, Kevin De Bruyne, obviously good side. Egypt's tough too. I mean, they're very good defensively. Mohamed Salah, one of the best players in the world still at 36 years old. So there's a lot of cool storylines in that match. Belgium is a group I'm really interested in seeing. Do they kind of remind me a little bit of Netherlands, who it seemed like the same Netherlands side. They can't ever really get that big time win, and they didn't get it yesterday either. So I'm waiting and seeing on Belgium. Obviously, another story is Iran. Some stuff going on off the pitch. How will they deal with New Zealand? That could be 0-0. That could be a low scoring match. Maybe 1 goal wins it. Not a great card today from a betting standpoint, but exciting nonetheless.
Yeah, I love all the games, man. I do. And again, not being a huge soccer guy, I can really get into it. And, we've, like, in the Philadelphia area, let's call it, for me and Jeff, you see Lincoln Financial Field, which is called Philadelphia Stadium, which is ridiculous as it is, but it's everywhere. There's going to be generic on the stadiums unless you pay FIFA more money. Ecuador, Jeff, not a huge country. You might have thought Ecuador had 75 trillion people in their country, and they might have all been in Philadelphia. That place was packed out. That place was yellow. But also, Jeff, how about I see you out there? Tell me a little bit more about the Scotland fan base, please. Please?
Oh, they're the best. I mean, they're one of the best. I mean, just such passion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of passion, obviously, across the world with nations. And we realize how big football is really on the world stage.
Yep.
I think it is cheapened by bringing it here because in the end, these stupid American people don't care about it. It's such a beautiful sport, and there's so much pageantry to it. Yeah, I mean, the singing of the national anthem was great. Yeah. I mean, Germany, Donnie, we have to do a ranking. The best national anthems. Germany might be.
Yes, we do have to do that. Anthem. We got ranked. By the way, you keep it up on your rankings here on some of the best looking fan bases.
Yes,
let's just say.
Okay, yes, that's a little foreshadowing. Later in the week, we're going to do. I'm going to rank my top 5 women nationality fan bases. So
yes,
and number 1 is going to surprise, I think, a lot of you. That said, yeah, the fan bases are great. I will say, bad beat last night. If you had the draw in that Ecuador game, I mean, it was probably a game that should have seen more goals. But
yeah,
again, some of these late goals have been brutal. I mean, you look at on Saturday with Switzerland. I mean, they probably should have won. They lose on a late goal with Qatar, score late. Some of these injury time winners are rough. I do want to shout it in the chat. Alex is in the chat saying Lamine Yamal's limited just because they're playing Cape Verde. Well, yeah, that would be cool if they were up 4-0, but he might have to come in and play. He might have to come in just to get a win here. Donnie, it's like when you play the first round of the NCAA tournament, you're playing Connecticut
Coppin State.
Blind. Yeah, you want to rest your guy, but then it's in the second half, 4 minutes to go, you're down 4 or something, or you got to bring them in.
Amen. Donnie Rightside, Jeff Nadu here. Look, again, crossing lines today. First live show. You know we're going to be here, Jeff? Every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for a good chunk of the summer. 12 p.m. Eastern to 1:30 p.m. doing it live. We're going to put the clips up there, and we love all the engagement in the chat box. It's been fantastic. Hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, wherever you're following us, whether it's through Twitter right now, through YouTube. Just get in there, have some fun with us, and we really appreciate it. And also, monster stuff coming up as we move through the summer months here. Just building that community as we go, Jeff. And that community does like Major League Baseball because I love it on a day-to-day basis, Jeff. I like to handicap Major League Baseball. We're going to get to a couple games in a few moments, but before we do there, Jeff, the Athletics, they play in Sacramento. Did you know, Jeff, the Athletics have been playing games right now in Las Vegas, and it's been a pinball machine. The 6 games they played, Jeff, 102 total runs, 147 hits, 35 home runs in 6 games, 17 runs average per game, which, by the way, the Major League Baseball average, about 9 per game. They're moving there in 2028, Jeff. I know it's a dome. I know it's going to be air-conditioned, but that ball is flying in Vegas.
It's like we were talking about earlier. You want to see knockouts in the UFC. You want to score runs.
Yeah.
You want to see runs in the baseball. Yeah, it's great. It's a pinball machine, as you said.
Really is.
Bad for the under people out there. Don't be betting unders in Coors. Don't be betting unders in these Las Vegas stadiums.
Got to be contrarian.
Also, you mentioned coming up. Don't forget, I tweeted it out.
What do you got?
We have 10 more Saturdays without college football.
Somebody didn't like that, Jeff. Somebody tweeted you out and said, enough with the countdowns. What do you say to those people?
Well, people hate everything on Twitter. I mean, you could cure cancer tomorrow and they'd say, oh, you didn't do it fast enough, goof. Yeah, no, look, NFL, we're going to do, we'll get eventually to doing one team a day. We get some great NFL people that'll be on. Look, this show is going to be insane in the football season. We're going to be here every day. But yeah, Donnie, we got a couple of baseball games. I got a couple of spots. Let's look into them.
Let's get to it. So, but I think the series of the start for the week, we should say 10-10 tonight, Jeff, is Tampa Bay and it's Los Angeles. We'll get that in just a few moments. But Jeff, I'll let you have the cart right now. What do you got tonight? What are you looking at for the people out here in Major League Baseball?
Well, it's a game you mentioned. I like the Angels tonight a little bit.
All right.
But well, hold on though. I'm going to say though, I don't want full game because the Angels bullpen sucks.
Stinks. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, it's one of the worst in the majors. I want to isolate Walbert Urania. Urania's been very good. I mean, you look at his last 7 starts, ERA under 2, whip it at like 1.1, 38 strikeouts. Last 5 outings, 5 earned runs combined. He's been very good. Diamondback lineup tough. This is a decent team. I don't know how many runs they're going to scratch at the Angels, but, a power hitter or 2. I want Urania, though. I want to back him right now. He's been very good. You're getting a plus money price in the first 5. Again, I want to avoid the full game. I have no interest in backing the Angels bullpen. Statistically, the worst in baseball.
Yeah, and you take a look for me, like I like an angle in this game, and I'm very analytical sometimes in my approach, and it doesn't usually deal with like a money line. Like, we talk about 10 years ago, okay, money line or just the total for the game. There's so many different ways that you can invest, obviously, when you're looking to play some of these games. But I like this Arizona Diamondbacks, Los Angeles Angels game. If we do just look at the side itself, Jeff, Urania, the underdog in this one. You've got splits of like minus 132, minus 115 type splits in this. Let's just call it a slight favor here towards Arizona. But when you get into the numbers here, Jeff, at least analytically, I got Ryan Nelson. I have 13 pitchers on the card today that have a minimum, Jeff, of 30 innings pitched on the season. Ryan Nelson here, a 5.19 ERA, which I really don't care about, but his analytical numbers are all off. His ERA minus is a 124. Just to put that number in perspective, 100, Jeff, is the baseline. For a pitcher, anything above that is a danger zone. That's 124. His xFIP minus is 137. His xFIP is 137. His xFIP minus is 130. So you're looking at this saying, all right, he's above those metrics and all those capabilities and categories, and also a 4.78 Sierra, which is a skill interactive ERA. What that does, Jeff, brings the pitcher and the defense together. Now, if you take a look and say, well, how can I try to get around that or make maybe good use of it? If you take a look at what the batters in the Los Angeles Angels have done, Jeff, over the past month, some good, some bad. So let's focus on the really good. You take a look at Zach Neto, 85 plate appearances against right-handed pitching, Jeff, over the past month. A 274 ISO. Now, when you look at that ISO power number, you want that about a 175 or higher. He sits 274. That's fantastic. Weighted on base percentage, Jeff. 325 around that average. If you're a batter, you want that higher. He sits at a 386. Now, let's focus on Ryan Nelson, what he's been doing over, let's just say, the past, let's just see how many we have in here. It looks like we have last 30 days statistics, and we'll match those up with the current season that he has. His last 30 days, Jeff, against 232 ISO. How about a 332 weighted on base percentage and a low K rate of around 15%? That means the ball is going to be in play. So one of the angles I love to play, Jeff, instead of just going money line, we're going to worry about everything else. I'm going to take Zach Neto to get an RBI, as well as Wade Meckler to get an RBI. Both of those guys, extremely high ISOs and weighted on base percentages over the past 30 days against right-handed pitching. So if you take a look at Ryan Nelson today, we got plus 188 on Neto for an RBI, and Meckler's 233. So how do we handle that, Jeff, right? You go 1-1, you get plus money, you get 2. I love to see it. I'm taking a plus money approach in this game, Jeff, for the Angels. 2 guys to get an RBI. 1 for Neto, 1 for Meckler, and I just need one of those guys to have a solid night in this game, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm taking plus money as well. Give me the Angels. I'll play them first 5 here on the money line. Look, worst comes worst, we get our money back. But what can I get a plus?
What do you got?
What I got on the money line here? Plus 102. I'll take that.
Yeah, no doubt about it here. We'll get some Q&As a little bit later in the show as well. Having fun. People watching the chat box, the good vibes out here. A lot of people liking the show and the energy that we bring. Just getting started, people. That's what we do. But also, Jeff, Major League Baseball tonight, you're taking a look at a couple first-place teams. The Tampa Bay Rays fighting for first in the AL East. You also see the Los Angeles Dodgers out here trying to fight for some respect here. And respect is what? 3 straight championships? I mean, my goodness at this point. But looking at this game, Martinez is on the mound for Tampa Bay going to get up against Lauer. I have an angle to play in this one, but also when you look analytically here and you say to yourself, all right, Nick Martinez, Jeff, a 2.43 ERA on the season, you might think that is fantastic. That's some guy that I do want to absolutely match. But his analytical numbers, Jeff, xFIP 4.53, Sierra 4.75. That means the eyeball test is not really matching up with the analytical test. I think there's a chance that those Dodgers get to Martinez. And Lauer, on the other hand, Jeff, just a bad pitcher. Did you ever look at this one already or no?
Yeah, I did. Donnie, I have about 50 MLB plays in the season. I was betting the Rays and the Braves early on a ton. I
just
was
riding them through.
Yeah. But then the Rays look, at the end of the day, they're a small ball offense. Sometimes they look really bad on offense. I love their pitching, though. I'm a big McClanahan guy. Martinez, though, look, I get it. Analytical. He's probably a little lucky. He did, though, have one real bad start. Outside of that, he's been pretty good. He's always been a very decent middling MLB pitcher. I think Eric Lauer is probably a bit better analytically than like the ERAs give him credit for as well. Yeah. This isn't a good lineup for the Rays. 2 pretty good bullpens. 9.5 struck me a little high. I kind of like the under a little bit here.
You know what? I'm going to look at this game. Same thing that I did in that first game with the Angels. I'm going to look at the Tampa Bay Rays because you look at Lauer. Technically, he's 13th out of 13 pitchers on the card today with a Sierra 5.13 this season, which is a disaster. We don't know how long he's going to go, and maybe the bullpen takes over. But in the meantime, Yandy Diaz, Jeff, right-handed bat, going up against lefties. He's been spectacular, particularly, Jeff, in the last 30 days. How about a 276 ISO and a 470 weighted on base percentage and a K rate of only 11%? Then I take a look down in that lineup. Junior Caminero has been great. His weighted on base percentage, Jeff, over the past month against lefties, that's a 433 and also a very good K percentage. So when I look at that and I say, also, hey, I don't know if Tampa Bay is going to go into LA and win this game, but I do think some of those batters can have some success. So the exact same thing, Jeff, I'm doing with the Angels, I'm going to do with the Tampa Bay Rays. I'm going to take here Junior Caminero to record an RBI at a plus 124 price, and then Yandy Diaz at a plus 162. Same thing applies. Get me one of those 2 when it's plus money. 2 of the 4 on the night, you're eating good. 3 out of 4 or more, legitimate chances to certainly earn at this point. So for me, Jeff, I'm going to keep it simple once again. 2 batters in each of these games that have performed very well over the last 30 days against what I think are questionable pitchers. Give me 2 RBI out of 4, Jeff, and we're eating tonight. That's where I'm going.
Yeah, I love it. I love all the props and stuff. Yeah. I don't have much in the Rays Dodgers, but I am going to play the Angels first 5, plus a little scratch there. I like that one.
Like it. All right, Jeff, there you go. A little handicapping at this point. And by the way, Jeff, somebody did ask in the chat box, what is your favorite bet today? And like, I know we have question and answer, and we're going to get to that and a lot more things coming up there. But do you have, if you had one soccer play, the best to have? Just today.
Well, I'm waiting on the lineup for Belgium. Obviously, I'm going to probably just play Lukaku to score a goal. I mean, he's such a horse up front. I mean, he's like dealing with an NFL running back. He's just so big and strong. And look, Belgium, I think, probably get 2 or 3 in this one. I think look, Egypt's tough, but I think once you break them down, I think Belgium will be on the front foot. I got to tell you, I didn't love this card today. I want to see a live line on Spain because from what I hear, this Cape Verde goalkeeper has been like insane.
Stoning them left and right.
And by the way, to Cape Verde, they will be in my top 5 women fan bases, nationality-wise, from the look standpoint.
Where are we in Cape? By the way, you're a geographic guy. Where's Cape Verde? Give the people a look at that. I have no idea where it's at.
Yeah, so Africa? Cape Verde is a small island off the coast of Africa.
Oh, there you go.
Beautiful, beautiful nation. So off Western Africa. They speak Portuguese, I believe, there. Donnie, Cape Verde, if you were in a spot where you had unlimited money, right, and you had a jet where you could go anywhere right now, Cape Verde would probably be on the short list for me of a place to go right now. Yeah, the Seychelles would be another one. That's off the coast of Africa as well. Cape Verde is beautiful, man. Beautiful women, beautiful people. Yeah, I would love to go there.
There you go. How about some news and notes out here and some maybe breaking news to go along with it, Jeff? I know you sent me a topic over the weekend that you wanted to take a look at and go over. It's Aldon Smith passes away. And boy, when you talk about he had a checkered past, which we'll get into here, one of the NFL's, I guess, over that decade where he was absolutely dominant for the 49ers. They had a couple screws looses and some demons that he just couldn't deal with. And it was still a surprise, Jeff, when we got that breaking news information that Aldon Smith had passed away.
Yeah, I talked to a reporter friend of mine, Chase Sr. He contacted me on this and told me, it's, I don't want to go on too long about this. I don't want to labor on too long, but this is a sad, sad story. Aldon Smith was a hell of a player. Yeah. Went to the University of Missouri, was a great player for a couple of years for the San Francisco 49ers, in like the early to mid 2010s. I read an article the San Francisco Chronicle did on his death. He essentially now is speaking to young people. He had just spoken to the Niners, some of their rookies, and I think kind of try to teach them about some of the real problems that we don't talk about from an NFL standpoint. The money that you're going to get, some of the battling of demons you may have to face. And he has some substance abuse problems. We don't know what killed him. His friends want to say that it was a heart attack, and it could have been. I hope it wasn't substance abuse, but it's, again, the bigger picture of, we have a major problem in this country with mental health and substance abuse, and we are taking money away from these programs instead of putting money in them. Men don't want to talk about mental health and some of the problems that they have, the stigma that it has. Aldon Smith is just another sad cautionary tale. We see it all the time. We saw it years ago with like Len Bias and all these different guys. It's what could have been. I would urge you, Donnie, to check out that San Francisco Chronicle article. It talked about how he was so excited to watch the Knicks. He was a Knicks guy, and he ended up dying in a Knicks jersey. Very sad. Rest in peace.
And also, hopefully, the brain gets donated for a CTE check on that point, because when you're a football player and you're going through all these mental challenges here, who knows, man? You could be damaged goods by the time you even get through high school at this point with concussions and just learning about how the brain operates. But almost a dozen arrests for Aldon Smith since he joined the NFL. At least, actually, should I say, since 2012 at this point. So some sad times there. Other breaking news, Jeff, as we talk about in the World Cup, going on live 4 games today. Tunisia wasn't happy with their performance in game number 1. So what did they do, Jeff? Boom. See ya. Sabri Lamarouchi. Following their 5-1 defeat. He's out the door, Jeff. Like that name.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, you kind of do it generally like in the middle of baseball season, kind of upstart your team. Look at what it did to the Phillies. I mean, you get rid of Rob
Vegas
Thompson
Golden Knights. Yeah.
Yeah. Don Mattingly. Yeah. Vegas. Sure. It was an ugly one. You always hear these, that's kind of game that gets you fired. That's exactly the kind of game that gets you fired. Again, Sweden, a good side, but I don't know if they should be beating anyone, 5-1. Tunisia was bad. What
was Tunisia's outlook coming into the World Cup, though? Was it supposed to advance? Was it they just got embarrassed in a game where they probably should have hung around at least?
No, I mean, Tunisia is not they're kind of like, for years, there's always been a lot of teams in like Northern Africa, like Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, very tough to break down. They, a lot of the time, will park the bus, good defensively, and they just hope to kind of catch you on the counter. I wouldn't say Tunisia, they're not Morocco or even Egypt. They're a solid little side. They shouldn't be losing 5-1 to Sweden. Yeah. You could see the occasional, you get blown out by a big side, but Yeah, they just kind of collapsed in the second half. I guess they're hoping to motivate the side. We'll see.
Some of the chat box here out there on YouTube getting involved. Sean Doherty. I was at the game. He said Sweden is just built different, and also Coach SD7. Sweden was a small favorite. He had them at -0.5 at +100 here. So small favorite. You're not supposed to get whacked like that.
Yeah, it's kind of, Donnie, you look at some of the prices yesterday, looking back, that was a great one. But even like in the UFC, like Cyril Gahn, he was like right before that fight, he moved up at the Brigada, like a -110 favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, he destroyed his opponent. So, yeah, I mean, there were some good prices yesterday. Sweden was definitely one of them. I would say if I had to predict the winners today, obviously Spain, I think will win ultimately. Belgium, I'll say 2-0. 3-1 maybe even. I'll go Iran, and I'll go, what's the other one? Uruguay. They'll beat Saudi Arabia.
Uruguay there. All right, Jeff, more breaking news, which I don't know if this is breaking news, but I always like to get your opinion on this, because you should, and not because of the actual topic itself, which is Lewis Hamilton becomes the first driver to win an F1 race for McLaren, Mercedes, and Ferrari. I don't even care if you answer that, Jeff, but Lewis Hamilton's personal life, who he's dating and how he's getting down with his business, how about that more important, huh?
Well, I've talked about her many times. She's on my GOAT list. I've always said Kim K is a GOAT. I mean, no matter how you look at it, she is one of the sexiest women on earth still to me. That said, this is a broader conversation, Donnie, we have to have about athletes and their dating lives.
Go ahead.
Why do they all date the same people?
I think I have an idea on that. Like, let's start the conversation here. Why do you think that is the case?
Well, I think it's just kind of the celebrity world, and that, it's kind of like a boys club where you kind of share things. And I guess maybe it's just easy to just talk about them all amongst each other. But this is why, like, I give Drake a lot of credit. And I like Drake, but we've heard his exploits where he'll just randomly hit some random girl up in like Pittsburgh and be like, hey, I think you look good. Like, I give Drake a lot of credit for kind of like branching out, but we see like rappers and athletes, they literally just date the same women. I guess it's just a way of, they can kind of communicate with each other about these women, and they all kind of just, hey, I messed with her. She had this, or I don't know. Maybe it's just the comfort. I don't know. I don't get it.
I actually think it's more in that realm of they both parties know exactly what they anticipate. And it's not like, let me sign an NDA, or this person is going to be a crazy clinger if I get rid of them. Because say what you want about some of these athletes that are in that same pool, and everybody is like, why wouldn't you do that? Well, then you get into like, say, you know what, dated her 1 or 2 times. Now she shows up at my apartment. Now she's putting out crazy videos in the middle of the night, where a lot of these women that understand the game, if it is, hey, I have a kid with multiple, like, why is that possible? Probably because they just don't talk about it openly at that point until they need money late in their career and go on like a reality TV show at this point. But I just think you're swimming in that same pool where everybody understands the expectations, if you will.
And I think I give Lewis Hamilton a lot of credit with Kim K on the level of, Kim K is more successful than Lewis Hamilton, no matter how you look at it. Dealing with a woman where you're dating up, not down. I notice a lot of guys either date way up or date way down. I've never understood the thought of dating down. You got to be they're needy, they're annoying. You want a woman up or above you or on the same level. And look, that's a great kind of woman. Kim K understands fame. Yeah. I also want to shout out Timothy Chalamet. This is a guy who, you look at the internet and how weird of a place it is, and you wonder, do any of us regular people have a chance? Timothy Chalamet is a top actor. He's young, he's, rich. He's dating one of the most beautiful women on the planet. And you still see, look at this loser. It's like, dude, he's Timothy Chalamet. Do we have any shot if even he can't win, Donnie?
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, that dude is winning on and off, and his Knicks get a world championship at the same time on this run, and away you go here with that. So, I mean, it's interesting to see who these people date, and certainly sometimes just like Future, and, you got Sierra, and you got Russ up here, and we're fighting over custody and doing all this stuff. So always in the news to keep it interesting at this point. Just a few moments, we're going to cross over and hit the chat box here, because I know a lot of people are asking some questions out there, but great stuff in the chat box once again. If you're watching for the first time right now, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, get in the comments here, follow us on all our social medias. And if you don't know, well, where am I actually watching this at? At Crossing Line Sports TV. That's the YouTube channel. You go over to X/Twitter, Crossing X Lines. Give it a follow, give it a like, say hello to Jeff and I. That's the way we get down to business at this point. But Jeff, I did save something too, because I don't think we have the video, but you had to have seen it. The one guy in the Rodman jersey in New York City taking care of all those Knicks fans at once. And the one joke that I saw in there, Jeff, it looked like he was walking around with a force field, because every time he got near the Knicks fans, they all backed up as if they got hit with a wave of like a neutron explosion. That guy was handling his business, Jeff.
Yeah, he was. I need to see more of a backstory though. Like, did he just happen to be caught in that and he just did what he had to do? Did he go looking for that? It did seem a bit performative to me. I don't know. Someone just happened to be filming it when he started doing it.
Swinging.
I think that's the issue with the world now. We don't really know what's authentic, what's not. But yeah, that's the whole adage of, F around and find out. You got to give him. He had a lot of aura. It's people aura like that is hard to match, and you got to give it to him. He was eating punches. He was eating kicks to his thighs. He was doing what he had to do. But I need to know more about that guy. I tried finding him on Instagram. I posted a reel.
What's his at?
I didn't get his app, but yeah, I'd like to know.
Yeah, we're going to cross over and talk a little bit of fun here in the chat box. We still have a couple more minutes left in the show, but Coach SD says, look like Debo from Friday, that guy. But also, Jeff, how about this? Our buddy Guan White out there. Belgium team total over 1.5.
I like that. Shout out to Guan. Yeah, I like that. Shout out to Guan White.
Shout out to Tennessee.
Guan White has been around since I first started doing this. One of the great kind of commenters, listeners, good dude, family man. I see his food reviews. Big dude, likes to eat. He's the kind of guy you'd want to go eat wings with. It just seems like a great guy. I saw Lucky was in here. He's a good dude as well. We got a lot of old school people, and that's the great thing. We'll build this thing up. It's the first live show we're doing.
Yep.
But yeah, I like the Belgium one. They're a good side. I think they can get 2 here. It's going to take a while, I think, but they'll get that 1, and then I think 2 should fall.
Yeah, and also in the chat box out there, like we ask you questions as well. I'm looking right now. How about a best bet out of some chat boxes out here and where they're actually going tonight and what they like at this point? Francisco Carrasco says, any HRR props tonight? Now, I assume that's not home run bets. That would be hits, runs, and RBI, which I love those type of wagers here. I would go with the same guys, Caminero, Diaz, Neto, and Meckler here tonight. If you're going to use 4 guys that you think you have a chance to get an RBI, well, Jeff, that means if they get 1, that counts as 1. Maybe it's a base hit and an RBI. That already cashes that ticket over 1.5. I think that makes a lot of sense at that point. Also, Jeff, as we scan over here and take a look at some things, somebody asked here also, Sean Dockery earlier, any thoughts on Padres baseball, how they set up their game for the rest of the season? It's hard. Like, Jeff, honestly, if you are a Major League Baseball team and you're in a division with the Dodgers, you don't really stand a chance. Like the Padres had their ownership group before they sold this year. They tried to go toe-to-toe a little bit and say, we're going to get Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts. We're going to sign big-name pitchers here. We're going to make a run at it. And it just doesn't matter. And sooner or lately, the bank account runs empty because the Dodgers have endless funds at that point. So for me, talking about, let's just say, the Padres, I don't have a lot of hope at this point here because you got to go head-to-head with the Dodgers.
Yeah, the Machado stuff didn't work out. It's a little bit smaller market too. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of middling teams in baseball. And again, you got to try to build, through the draft and through young talent. I mean, we talked about that on Friday. You look at a team like the Chicago White Sox, they were bad for a while. Yep. You go out and get some picks. And we saw, or I think we mentioned with the Tigers, they're talking about moving Skubal. That's the way you win nowadays. This thought of, you just bring in a bunch of big, look at the Yankees. I mean, they've won, but you look at the Phillies, haven't won. You look at, the Padres. I mean, that hasn't worked out. Manny Machado, you give him what, $300-400 million. The Mets, it's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You're right.
Just scanning through again here. Good stuff here in the chat box as we go and having some fun. And the more this community does get built up, the better. And the easier, I would like to say, Jeff, it is for us. But I want to ask also you a question, Jeff, and also as I look at the chat box out here. And not that question is, Jeff, and eventually we're going to get on Evan Sider here. He's very good with the NBA, very in tune with things. Have you been following, Jeff, the Giannis Antetokounmpo, let's just say markets here on where we think he's going to go? And it looks like it might be wrapped up this week. It's almost neck and neck with Boston and Miami. So I'm going to ask you the question, Jeff, and while I ask you that, chat box fire away as well. Where should Giannis actually wind up here? And is it better for him to be in Boston or Miami and that team to challenge the Knicks?
Yeah, I don't think it's a question. Miami for sure. You look at that ownership group. You look at Pat Riley. You look at Spoelstra. It's been a culture that's won. It's been very successful. You also look at the quality of life living in Miami,
Yep.
with a lot of money. The tax implications are a lot better as well.
Yep.
Look, it's storied organization. The Saudis. I don't think you can go wrong with either. But I'll tell you what, that would be really interesting to see him with Bam and some of those young kids down there. I figure with Boston, there's just too many mouths to feed there, right? I mean, you got Tatum, you got Jaylen Brown, you got all these different guys. I think Miami seems like a match made in heaven. Throw in from a personal side, it's the tax-based stuff is helpful. It's better weather. I mean,
I would love to be Miami. I would love to live in Miami. It would be easy for me. Like, hey, I'm going to get out of Milwaukee and go to Miami as opposed to Boston. I would do that. But having said that, you see it here, Coach, the Greek freak to Boston would be cheating, as Coach says. But also, he says the big three, Tatum, Brown, and the Greek. You probably would have to give up Jaylen Brown, though, right?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You're not going to be able to, I don't think, keep that group intact. I would, again, though, say when we look at the NBA over the last 20-ish years, there aren't many better cultures than the Miami Heat. I mean, just, Pat Riley. Look, I've always loved Pat Riley. And I grew up when I was growing up, he was a coach. And, he always looked like a guy I would have covered on the sit down, Donnie. And he always had that slick back hair with the suit on. That culture, I love Miami. I loved growing up watching Dwayne Wade. And, I think Miami would be great. But I don't think you're wrong with either. As a Sixer guy, you'd hope he goes to like Utah. I don't want to see him in, on one of those teams. But he's already on the Bucks. You have to deal with him anyway.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff here as we bounce back and forth. And also from earlier here in the chat box, Coach asked me, Jeff, what is Donnie's favorite sport to handicap? Well, handicap-wise, I think you get a lot of great numbers, Jeff, in Major League Baseball because they play so many games. Like, I ask you this question, Jeff. For me, I would say baseball is my favorite because you can look analytically at the numbers. Now, favorite sport? Of course, it's going to be the NFL or it's going to be some sort of football, NCAA. But, Jeff, let me ask you this question. Like, if college basketball, which is a fun sport to handicap, me, I don't get started till late because I like to let those numbers pile up. Can you imagine if college basketball teams played 70, 80 games, how much information you have by game number 50 at that point? So for me, Jeff, handicapping-wise, I love the day-to-day grind like poker of Major League Baseball. What do you like? What's your favorite sport to handicap? I know you love college basketball, but handicapping-wise, what do you like?
Well, yeah, I got known through college basketball. That was kind of my bread and butter, and it still is. I like the fact that there's 360-plus teams. I could just kind of disappear and find my edges. But no, I mean, my most successful sport over the last 5+ years has been college football. I love college football. It's my gateway. I find it to be, to me, still the easiest. I will say, though, I've had a really good run with the NFL, too. It really has been fun. I like some of the added markets. I'm not a big prop guy, really, other than the NFL. I'll play the touchdown markets, things like that. I got to tell you, I hate the way Donnie caps now. He only does these stupid props. He doesn't do spreads or totals anymore. Old school Donnie Rightside and I, we used to do.
Don't worry about and I'm telling you, I've enjoyed myself throughout my, evolution in this business, Jeff. And let's go back 15, 16 years. But the fact that you see me now, because you got on me and you're rightfully so. Oh, he's going to bed early. Your boy DRS doesn't go to bed early anymore, Jeff. I'm watching UFC last night, and I'm going to be up later, which means more of those false flags that me and Jeff talk about. Because the one thing, Jeff, we've been around the block so many times how many times have you you texted me out of nowhere, boy, that Colts line looks awful. And I send you back like, brother, amen at this point. Like, we're going to have so much fun doing that. Just being back in the game again with that stuff.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff. And I always say, Donnie, this might be really like, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. I will always say one of the greatest feelings on earth is a Saturday night in October. It's like October 9th or something. It's about 10:30, 11. You got that late night college football game starting in Provo or
UNLV, Utah State.
And I'm going to the spot I go to. I get my table. I settle in, and I got the game on Gamecast. I'm just refreshing it. I got a total. It's 70, and it's 17-14 with 4 minutes to go in a first quarter. And you're feeling good. I love football. I talked about Donnie, and this is a personal thing. I've talked about 2 years ago, I went to a facility for some mental things that I was dealing with. And I remember when I left, I thought to myself, could I just be depressed that I'm ready for football? Like maybe I just missed it. I was dealing with summer blues. I thought maybe some of it was I just wanted football to start.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. I love football. It's a great thing. I'm a gambler and I love this kind of stuff. So I can't wait for it. It's coming up.
Yep. Everybody's sticking us through here in the chat box. And again, just getting started, all social media platforms. The goal is to grow this thing. And it's very hard to do in this day and age because Jeff will talk about it as well as I do. And we have so many times to get in these topics. The evolution of this whole gambling space from 2012 to 2013 to before, live gambling in the United States to then the COVID hits here and everybody got themselves podcasts at that point. And they're all going to come. But a guy I see out here, Dave Mannion's out here in the chat box. Wanted to give a shout out to him. Absolutely love Dave Mannion.
He's a good man.
Yeah, he is a good man. It's good to see. And again, all these old friends popping up and say, hey, like some people don't even know they're popping by. Like, wait a second, Jeff and Donnie are back together. Well, we've been talking about it for a week, but wait till you see and understand this from what the show concept is. Jeff, we used to do little hangouts like, we're bored in the summer. What are we going to do? A summer sit down. Just talk hot topics here, have some fun while you're waiting for football to get underway. Now, as we sit here, Jeff, in the middle of June, this show hits the afterburners once we get to August. So setting the expectations of you are going to get, Jeff and Donnie, handicapping madmen. Don't you worry. But right now, Jeff, the introduction to the show, the fun over the next month and a half, once we hit football season with some changes we got for the people, they're going to want to hold on for that.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming and good people. We got a lot of good guests and good storylines and things to talk about. I will say Dave Mannion, still to this day, one of the best UFC,
yes.
Yeah. He's really good. One of my go-tos. I always like to see what he's on. Yeah. We obviously had Nolan earlier. Yep. There's some good people out there. They really dedicated their life to the fight game and understanding
Love it.
Donnie, tomorrow I want to set the stage.
Go ahead.
We got to talk about this Josh Hokett clown. When I say clown, he's a clown. We don't have enough time for it today, but I want to talk about it tomorrow and maybe just connect it to some of the things going on with the UFC and with the White House.
Yep.
I mean, just what a loser. What a loser.
Yes. And again, it's a great teaser for tomorrow because we only have a couple minutes left in the show and that's fine. But once we hit this information, you say, you know what? Take a step back and read into it. Jeff is right on this topic, which we have that tomorrow. Also, it looks like Mina, Jeff, is going to join us tomorrow.
Oh, really?
What do you have about that? There you go. So we got some guests rolling through.
I want to talk about Mina. Mina she's really good. I love Flash. Both of her and Flash are terrific with football. They know.
Sounds like you like her better than Flash. I'm hearing.
Mina's a good Italian as well. She's a big Juventus person. I love watching Mina.
Serie A.
Yeah.
Serie A is the way you go.
Donnie,
yeah, go ahead.
67th minute. Spain is still not scored.
What's going on? Are they going to now? Do we get a manager sacked at the end of this one? Because correct me if I'm wrong. Spain and France were up there as like the two favorites to win this thing. How are we struggling with Cape Verde?
They have 15 shots, 6 on goal, 70% possession.
Brutal.
544 passes compared to 216, and they're still tied 0-0. What a joke.
How about this, Jeff? Just about at the end of the show at this point. First live show going to be in the books. Look, I put a Nike hoodie for me today, Jeff. You impressed with me? You got Nike on. I got Nike. I don't have to be in a suit and tie every show. I can relax a little bit with you.
I got the Arizona? Yeah, it's basketball.
That's yeah, that's your boy. So setting the table for tomorrow and the way we go, a lot of the same stuff you got today. The hot topics, we got it covered. Viral topics, we got it covered. Jeff's opinions, we're going to have it covered. Handicapping Major League Baseball and so much more. That's what we do, Jeff. So today in the books, once again, Crossing Lines, your place to be, 12 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. For the time being, we're going to run for an hour and a half as that daily get-together in the middle of the afternoon. Come in the chat box, say hi. You got to pick, share it. You didn't like a topic that Jeff or I had, share it in the chat box. The one thing you know about me and Jeff, we love to mix it up. Now, granted, you don't want to cross those lines, which pun intended on the show, and get real angry with people and go nuts, but we love the back and forth. Jeff and I are going to have a lot of back and forth. We're going to agree on some things. We're going to hate each other on some things. Jeff might quit the show multiple times, maybe say me as well, but we will always be back the next day giving you all the information that you need. Loved my time today with you, Jeff Nadu. Tomorrow's a Tuesday. We'll be right back at noon. Thank you so much for the support. Let's build this thing. It's Crossing Lines with Jeff Nadu and Donnie Rightside, and we will see you tomorrow.